All right, today we're going to start talking about tints and shades. A tint is a color plus white. It makes it lighter. A shade is a color plus black. It's called a tone. Now, we are going to take a look at this with paint first, and then we're also going to talk about it with the use of oil pastels. So with my paint, remember, tip of the day, tip of the brush. We're just going to use the tip of the brush. I'm drying my brush off here. And I'm going to grab a little bit of my paint, and I'm going to paint that onto my paper. Okay. Now the great thing about mixing is you can mix on your palette, but you can also mix straight on the paper itself. So now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to take the tip of the brush, all right, and drag some paint out from the edge. That way other people can still be using that same color. And I'm going to start to blend over top of this. Notice how it's becoming lighter. I can get a little bit more and it'll make it even lighter. I can grab some more and it'll make it even lighter. And I continue to get lighter and lighter versions of the original color I started with. So that would be a tint. Now I can do something similar with the black paint in that I can take my original color, and maybe this time I'll take orange. Okay, I'm going to take some orange here. Just spread that out so you can see it a little bit better. And I'm going to take a little teeny tiny bit of black. Black takes over very, very quickly. That pigment will take over quickly, so you only want to take a tiny little bit and then blend it together. All right, so notice how that changes the color that you're painting with. It's almost a brown color here when you add that black into the orange. All right, so this is going to be getting darker. All right, it's a darker version of that original color. Okay, so that would be considered a shade. Now you can also do this with oil pastels. So if I take a blue oil pastel and I am drawing with it, instead of just using what came straight from that company and deciding that color blue, I can say, well, I can make this my own version of blue by creating a tint or a shade. So I can take my white oil pastel and start to blend over top of it, and it creates a tint. So notice how this blue is noticeably lighter than this one, and it really will make your artworks more interesting. Now this is also helpful if you're trying to show something that is in the sunlight, okay, because your lighter, warmer colors are going to make it appear like the sun is shining on it. So imagine here, I'm going to take a little bit of brown and I'm going to pretend like this is a boat and it's floating on the water. All right, so I have my brown here, and that's nice, but I've used the color straight out of the bottle. All right, and we can make it far more interesting by adding tints and shades. All right, so I am going to take a little bit of orange and a little bit of white, and I'm going to blend that together just a little bit, add a little bit of brown to it. So I'm using a warm color. Just like when you stand in the sunlight, it warms it up, you feel warmer. So using that warm color with a little bit of white to make it a tint, it's going to make it look like the light is shining off of the one side of the boat. Okay, I'm going to make that a little bit lighter. Whoops. That a little bit lighter and blend that together. Okay, and so now I have the light shining on the boat. Now it can be even more interesting by thinking about the opposite side of the boat. If the light is shining this way, then on this side I'm going to have a shadow. So I can take a little bit of a cool color, this is a blue, with a little bit of black in it, and a little bit of brown in it. And I can mix those together and use that on the opposite side. And that's going to cool it off on this side. Okay, and it's going to make my boat look far more interesting than what it looked like at the beginning when it was just one solid color brown. And that's going to continue to dry there, but you can definitely see over here we have our tints, and over here we have our shades, both of which will make your artwork much more interesting.